Hello everyone, I'm Lisa Ann Spencer, and this is also Grandiose Heirlooms. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Most of you know that I participate in a monthly garden collaboration that's hosted by Victoria. She lives over in the UK. Her channel is called Home Educating the Mad Lads, and also her friend Maria at the Richardson Simple Living. We've been participating in this end of the month garden collaboration for several years now, and so be sure to look down in the description box and you will see the link to their channels and any others who are participating in the garden collaboration. So it's end of April. This month went by really quickly, and I just want to give you a tour around the garden. It's really warm today. We've had, it's been cold, but it finally warmed up, and I think there's going to be no more frost or freezes unless something surprises us. So some of the plants have finally started growing. Market started already this past Saturday, but I was not able to go because I went to pick up my bees. It was the only day that I could schedule to go. So missed the first market, but I do plan to start that one next Saturday, and then I do a Friday market, which starts this Friday. So I'll show you what I have, and honestly, it's not much because the growing season was really delayed by this terrible flooding that we had. I had sown seeds, I don't remember, mid-April, maybe earlier, and we got 9 inches of rain, and it washed most of my seeds away. So, but some of the things did well, like the potatoes. The rain couldn't wash them away. So I'm just going to stop talking about that and turn the camera around so that you can look at it for yourself. All right, here we go. I'm sitting in my swing, so I'm going to get up and show you my tomato plants. For those of you who stopped by last month, you probably remember they were about the size of these. So the thing about this is these plants were all potted up at the same time. They were all started at the same time. But I bought 2 different types of potting soil. And this one on the right is obviously no good. Well, actually I've potted these up into better soil, so hopefully I'm going to see some growth. Over here is the ones that I've yet to pot up, and so they are very tiny. Oh, I see a little frog, little green frog. So still got lots of work to do there, but if we pan back around to these plants, the ones, of course the big ones, they're going to market this weekend. I'll be selling those for like $3 a plant, or I'll give some discounts for bulk purchases. I've got a few peppers, herbs, got a few leftover things like cabbage and cauliflower. I'm going to be selling those for probably just $1 a pack because mostly I'm just trying to get rid of them. I got a really nice crop of celery there and parsley. It's kind of hard to tell the difference, but yeah, those are looking super good. All right, we'll pan around to the big garden. This is where my flowers were. It was very weedy last month, but I did get it tilled up and sown just yesterday. So I transplanted a few things that I had grown in containers, mostly zinnias, some garden balsam. That big one is a daisy from last year. There's some garden balsam from seeds. So I've planted the amaranth, the Love Lies Bleeding, and 4 o'clocks, lots of zinnias. So next month when you come back, we'll be able to see how those look. Now here is potatoes. I got 5 rows of potatoes and 1 row of onions. Quite a bit of grass, of course. And so you see my potatoes have gotten really tall. I don't know if they had even poked through the soil last month. but the warm weather has caused them to shoot up. Now I've got to hill up the dirt around all of these. Probably going to do that today as soon as I'm done with this video. That'll take me the rest of the day to get that done. And down there on the end is a rhubarb plant. We'll walk down this way. I did this year harvest some rhubarb and made a rhubarb crisp. Can't remember if I did that before I made the last video, but it was quite nice. But you see, it's very beautiful. So here's a row of onions. You know, you see a lot of grass, of course. And these were dry bulbs. And so I'm hoping that you can distinguish between the grass and the onions. And then I had a spot here that just drowned, so I planted some parsley in the empty spots. And the onions on this end look a lot better because they're up on higher ground. So got quite a few onions there. And of course my roosters are going to start having a competition. So potatoes, and then lettuce. So these big lettuces here are from last year. They actually overwintered. They're going to send up some seed stalks soon, and I can collect seeds from those. That's what Grandiose Heirlooms is all about, is saving my own seeds. I sell those seeds on Etsy and at Farmer's Market also. Now this was planted pre-flood. Oh, come on. This was planted pre-flood, so a lot of these lettuce seeds did wash away, and there's lots of grass. But I think when they get bigger, I will have enough to start eating and sell and give to my CSA customers in about 2 weeks, I hope. So under this row cover is radishes and carrots. You can see that the radishes are up, and usually they come up first, and then it takes a couple of weeks for the carrots to come up. So I leave the row cover on to keep them moist. That does okay. This was a row that got completely washed away that I've resown in spinach. A few of the romaine lettuces survived. Lots of grass. And then I planted some beets in this short section. This next row is Swiss chard and iceberg lettuce that I transplanted pre-flood. And you see the wire hoops. I had these under a row cover, so they were protected from being beaten by the rain. So those are looking really good. You can see that there's lots of weeding that needs to be done. I want to show you my stupid loud roosters. Got 2 of them. These are my daughters. I don't know why I call them mine. So that's Minty right there. And then the black one is Isadora. And Minty is the boss. Isadora is extremely annoying. And while we're here, we will look at the cherry tree. Thought I might be able to show you some little cherries. Yeah, there's a couple right there. Let me see if I can make that focus. No, not sure if I can. Anyway, there are quite a few cherries on here, more than last year. See, can you see that? There's one. I know it's terribly blurry. I cannot seem to get it. Look at Minty in the back chasing. So, as you see, the chickens are over here in their new run, and their yolks have turned very bright orange now because they're getting so much fresh grass. They're happy over here. So back to the garden, I have another row of lettuces, mesclun, you know, the mixed spring greens. And these I just sowed a couple of weeks ago, and they're looking really good. And next to it was a mix of radishes and carrots. I just sowed very thickly, as you see. And I see radishes, but I do not see carrots. So I am really afraid that my seeds were bad. Over here is another salad mix. You can see maybe the reddish lettuce leaves, but also either radishes or just brassicas. So those aren't looking super great. And this last row here is sweet peas on both sides. The ones on this side were planted pre-flood, and then the ones on the back side that you see through the fence there were planted just a couple of weeks ago. So those are looking good. I'm anticipating, at least having some sweet peas. This is my perennial flower bed. That's a daisy from last year. My swamp hibiscus is coming up. Got a few volunteer coneflowers. This is a hyacinth bean that I've grown from seed this year. And I still got a few little things in pots that I want to transplant. Oh, I did get an elderberry, and it was just a stick, so I put it in a pot, and that's looking really good. And a fig. Not sure if I had those last month. My thyme is looking beautiful. Oh, there's some kind of mason bee or something. And my spearmint, and then my irises. No blooms. I transplanted them just at the end of last year, so not sure if they will bloom this year. My barn, let's go in. My husband got my sink installed. It's this old, historical, probably 100-year-old sink washstand, and he's got it plumbed in for me, and I've got this spigot here so that I can wash my veggies. He put me a new window in. There's my old farm sign from ages ago, Pennington Hollow Farm, 20 years ago. So I know I showed you that I finished insulating. We haven't paneled or anything. My seed stand is pretty much empty except for storing things. Here's one of my beehives awaiting a new, hopefully catching a swarm. And then we got these four little baby bantams that my youngest daughter, she just had to have. So she's raising 4 little bantams. They're not quite fully feathered out yet, so that'll be interesting. I'm getting my stuff ready for market over here. Everything is so messy. One of these days I want to have this really pretty as a store where people can come and pick up produce here. All right, let's see, where do we go next? You see the tent in the backyard? My girls, 2 of them, camped out last night. It's the first time they've put the tent up since we've lived here, and it's been a year. All right, so you see what I call my coal yard. We'll go in there in just a minute. I got pots everywhere, of course. Things that I overwintered, things that I'm trying to start. Yeah, nothing too exciting. So this is the old chicken coop where the first flock came from, and my oldest daughter bought maybe 25 more, including 10 roosters that I'll be butchering in about 10 weeks for putting some meat in the freezer. Yeah, they're happy. Bunny, she's chilling. Maybelline. Hello, darling Maybelline. All right, so we'll go into the coal yard. We're only 12 minutes in. I feel like this is a super long video, but it's not. I'll stop and show you. I put this hanging, my husband did, put the hanging feeder planter thing. So I've got a morning glory down here, and I've got nasturtiums in pots, and then this row is where my oldest daughter plants flowers. Oh, let me show you the peaches while we're here. They are loaded down again. I don't think they're as loaded as they were last year, but there are lots of peaches. And I'm not really able to get the camera to focus this time, so sorry about that. All right, so this is a really small, relatively speaking. This was our first chicken yard, so the chickens were able to eat lots of bugs out of here and lay down a lot of fertilizer for me. So that's a row of garlic that I planted last fall. And here's several different crops. This is cabbage. It's some German heirloom variety called field kraut. In the between there, I put some more iceberg lettuce. My Brussels didn't do too great. Well, the flood drowned it. You see down there the 3 big ones, but then I had to come back and later add some more. And then kale, same thing. This is the low end, so a lot of things flooded down here. So I got 3 maybe really nice kale, 4, and then I added a few more tiny ones. This patch of grass is because you can't tell, but it's a slope. And then we come up here and we have, I don't know, broccoli. At the end is, last fall I grew collards, a variegated variety. So I'm saving seeds from these. And this row is cabbages. They look beautiful. And these garlics are giant. I'm going to get down low, but they're knee high or taller. They're looking really good. Some more, I think this is cauliflower. This is a row of turnips from last fall that I've allowed go to seed. I see a few little bees on there. Below it, I have planted a couple of butternut squash because I'll be harvesting these seeds and cutting this out as soon as my seeds are ready. Yep, I see a honeybee. Honeybees do like turnip flowers. They've got lots of protein. So see, the chickens, they have a little outdoor run too, so they can come outside. We have the little feather-footed one. That was a mystery bird. They sent us a feather-footed, really cute, but kind of nasty, you know what I mean? All right. Moving along, just more of the same really. More broccolis, 2 rows of broccoli. So I should get a good crop of broccoli, hopefully some cauliflower, maybe a good bit of kale. This is also another collard, it's called Old Timey Blue, and you can see it is already going to seed. So I'll be collecting these in just a couple of weeks. Then I'll cut those out, feed them to the chickens, and there's that. So this is the run where the chickens were just a couple of months ago. And you see I have tilled it and mulched it in some areas and planted it. So most of these things are newly planted, so I doubt you're going to be able to see, but like here's a row of running green beans. They're called rattlesnake. So all the way down is rattlesnake beans, beets, green beans, just regular bush green beans, 2 rows. And then I have a row of eggplant and peppers, which I know you can't really see, and then a row of tomatoes and another row of tomatoes. I planted the little bitty plants because I know that they will do well once they get in the ground. Here is a row of cantaloupes. Got 2 different kinds, heirloom varieties, One is a family heirloom and the other one is a true cantaloupe from France, I believe, that just tastes so fabulous. The last row is zucchini and yellow squash. You see my black raspberries. They're coming along nicely, as is the grass. I'll have to mow back here soon. I'll turn around and, oh yeah, right underneath my feet there's I think about 6 celeries, 2 different types. One is an old heirloom variety called Pink Plume, and the other is just one, like an all-American standard version, Utah, I think. So I dumped a bunch of compost because I knew they would like that. I planted a row of butter beans along the fence, the Alabama black-eyed butter bean, and then I planted some little baby bok choys in front of them. I think maybe they'll do well there. So let's go over. I do have a strawberry bed that I started last year. It didn't do too great. I covered it in straw over winter. It looks like most of my plants actually did survive, so hopefully they'll reproduce this year. I see a green strawberry, so that's encouraging. This little fuzzy plant right here is chamomile. There's another one. I sowed a lot of chamomile last year. They're supposed to do really well with strawberries, and we did harvest a good bit of that for tea. Here's my piles of straw that I pulled off the strawberries. They were all smushed down, but they have perked up, so I'm going to put the straw back around them. Probably not today, but one day this week. You can see the little purple violets blooming everywhere. My friend made me some purple violet jelly. It was really good. If I had time, I would make some, but I don't need to because she made me some. All right, this is my asparagus. I don't know that you see where the last freeze killed the tops of some of them, but most of them are looking really good. We didn't harvest any this year. They just opened up, and you know, that's fine. I was going to see if I could find one. Like here's a little skinny one coming up. So maybe next year we'll be able to eat some. And I bought some more that I'm going to plant down at the other end. Put a couple of spaghetti squash here, and down at the end, you can't see it, but I put a big giant pumpkin. We won't go in the chicken run, but you see the original blueberries. There's 4 of them that my son Gus bought, and they're looking good. They survived the winter, and we'll go out this door to the orchard. And there's an electric fence that runs right overhead. The wind is blowing really badly. My hat keeps trying to fall off. So this is my newly planted orchard. I know last fall I planted like 3 apple trees, but now I have 2 pears, a peach, a plum, I think it's a pawpaw, 6 blueberries. Here's one of the blueberries, and it is looking so good, just covered in blossoms. That one was just recently planted, and there's an electric fence around the whole thing to keep the deer out. Over here by the fence is going to be gourds. I just sowed some gourd seeds and some wildflowers, pollinators, hopefully for my bees. And here we go. My bees, I finally got them. My beekeeping mentor came over and helped me get them set up in the hive. I only put a veil on. I did not suit up, and I got stung on my legs like 14 times. But bee stings are good for you, and you know, I was glad to endure it. Happy to have them. So they're busy little bees. Let me see if I can focus in. And they are coming in and out, and they've got big pollen sacs, so they're working really hard bringing in nectar and pollen to get the hive established. And I am just super, super stoked about that. There's another area right here where I tilled before the flood and sowed pollinator mix. There are a few things that are germinating, so I hope those will, do well. Over here in the woods, I have a swarm trap set up in hopes of catching a second colony of bees for myself, because one is not going to be enough. 2 would be better. 4 would be superb, and I promise I'm going to stop at 4. I just can't afford to go buy colonies. They cost about $200, and it's worth the money, but who has that much money just sitting around? I mean, maybe somebody does. But anyway, just ratcheted this. This is 2 nuke boxes that were given to me. So there will be 5 frames in here. The bottom part is empty. There's honeycomb in there, and there's lemongrass oil as an attractant. So if there are any swarms, they have ways of finding them, and I'm just hoping that one might find us. We can get some more bees and more honey, and really my goal is to have pollination. I want my fruit trees and all of my produce to just be more productive, and I know that having bees will do that for us. Okay, the sun is back out and I'm sweating. It's about 82 degrees, I think. But yeah, I'll end here. I'm sure there's things that I would like to show you that I forgot. Whoop. My gimbal is swinging itself around. I don't know how the quality of this is going to be because I haven't used it in a long time. Anyway, I hope my sound is working and all that. All right, guys. For those of you who are local, come see me at the Georgetown Market and at the Corydon Market. That's going to be the new market I'm participating in on Saturday mornings. And then for those of you who are far away, I hope you enjoyed this tour. Leave a comment, say hello, send a picture or something. Tell me how your garden grows where you're at. By the way, I'm in Indiana. For those of you who don't know, Indiana, USA, Midwest. I think it's the perfect place to be. You get 4 seasons. You do get hot, you do get cold, but you have a really nice spring and a nice fall, and you get snow in the wintertime. So I love it. Glad to be here. I am planning on getting some goats. I'm going to try to recover my pasture with by grazing through regenerative grazing, rotational grazing. So I'm going to start out with a few goats and get my fields in better shape. My goal being to get a milk cow. Might take me a couple of years, but you got to have goals to work towards. All right, so say hello to Victoria and Maria, and I'll see you next month. Happy gardening.